Hello, I'm Christopher Walker with Closely Observed English. In this lesson we're going to look at how to write an informal letter for the Cambridge First and First for Schools exams. The informal letter is an option that might appear in part 2 of the writing paper, so it helps if you know what you're doing. So let's start with the nuts and bolts. First of all, sometimes you'll find that letters are referred to in the exam as emails. The principles are the same, it doesn't really matter which word we use. So as always, read the task carefully and underline the content points that you have to include. You're not just writing a letter for fun, you're writing for a particular reason, and there are certain questions that you have to answer as part of the rubric. Remember that in most cases, for an informal letter or email, you're writing to a friend. So think to yourself, what kind of language would you use when you're speaking to a friend? Now, you don't have to include your address, absolutely not, but do sign your name at the end. Don't just write XYZ, which I know is something that people do in the Polish Matura exam. So you don't need to put addresses at the beginning or the end. You do need to say hello to your friend at the beginning though. And then write your letter between 140 and 190 words. So let's think a bit more about the target reader, shall we? Who is it wants to read your letter? Well, like I said, it's usually a friend. They want you to write to them as if they really were somebody you know. But they also have certain questions in mind that they want you to answer. If we have a look at this example task, we can see what we mean here. This is a little email from Reginald about visiting the country. He'll be coming my way very soon, and he wants to know if we would like to meet up. He's asking, can you tell me about some of the places we could visit together, and where should I stay, in a hotel or a hostel? Now imagine if I wrote my reply to him, and I wrote using very formal language, and I failed to answer his questions. Now how would he feel? Would he feel like he was welcome to come and see me? Or would he feel as if I was trying to put him off? Exactly. So we need to make sure that we write to Reginald as you would speak to any of your friends, and that you answer all of his questions. So it helps to underline the content points right on the paper of the rubric. So, informal letters or emails are great to write because you can prepare your opening sentence long before you get to the exam. Start by saying that you're sorry for not writing earlier. I do that with my emails, usually because it's taken me a little while to respond to my friends in the first place. So you can think of an excuse and give a reason for it. If you like, put an example in the comments below this video and I can correct or improve the grammar for you, suggest some better vocabulary for you, and you've got that first sentence ready in the exam. Use it. So write that model sentence, check it with your teacher at school. There's another idea. So in terms of the structure, letters and emails need to do a few things. They need to maintain the friendship, but they need to cover the content points. So there are 2 real content points, as well as maintaining the friendship, so I recommend using maybe 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph will include the greeting. Then you'll have 1 point each for the content, and finally the last paragraph will say how much you're looking forward to seeing your friend or hearing from them again if you're expecting a reply to your letter or email. So here's an example. Dear Reginald, it was so lovely to hear from you again. It's a nice opening, of course. I'm sorry about the slight delay in replying to you. I've been in hospital for the last 3 days with pneumonia. Don't worry, I'll be fully recovered by the time you get here. So I had that ready and I would have applied it to any informal letter, whatever happened, whatever the topic, because it's a nice little kind of interactive thing, explain to my friend what's going on. Don't need to go any further than that. So then I start talking about his visit, saying that I would like to meet him. That's the first of his questions. Then he wanted to know about accommodation. And he also wanted to know about the plan, so I've got something in there about that. Now this is just a skeleton, it's an outline really of what you could do. I mean, I'm not saying this is the only way to go about it either, but it's a little structure that you could think about adapting for your own informal letters. And then to finish, we've got, I'm really looking forward to your visit. Seeing you will be just the boost I need after the last few weeks. You could change that. If you were expecting a reply, hearing from you will be just the boost I need after the last few weeks. Whatever you write just there, you can have it ready before you go into the exam so that it's perfect. So let's think about how your writing will be assessed. And first of all, the content. As well as covering all the content points, like I said, the target reader needs to feel that all of their questions have been answered. Imagine that you didn't answer them if it was in a letter of your own. You'd feel pretty bad about it. In terms of communicative achievement, you need to have informal writing from start to finish. Try to avoid larger linking words, more formal linking words. If it helps, read your writing out loud to a friend or just to yourself and see how it feels. Does it sound natural? Does it flow? Explain your answers to the target reader's questions. They want to know the answer to the questions, but you need to give a bit more detail as well, so that they feel like you're making an effort. And give specific details wherever possible. If a friend is coming to visit you, talk about the place where you live. Where would you really like to go? If there's nothing interesting to do where you live, imagine that you live somewhere else. Say in your letter, oh, it's so wonderful that you're coming to see me here in Paris, Texas. And then in organisation, we want every paragraph to have an idea and for that idea to be developed. We need to think about linking words, but like I said, they don't want to be too formal. They should be natural and informal. It's also a good idea to vary the length of your sentences. Too many long sentences might bore the person reading, and also run-on sentences that just go on and on and on and on and on and on. They start to lose their meaning. It's hard to understand them. You have to start breaking them apart. And then finally, in terms of the language, you can get really creative here. One way to boost your vocabulary, to boost your language, is to introduce an idea that isn't possible and then say why, and then say what you could do. For example, it's a shame that you didn't come over in the summer. If you had come then, we could have gone to the park. But right now, blah, 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 blah. So you say something that's unreal or in the past and there's regret. You can use some nice grammar that way. Also, because you're talking to a friend, you don't want to be too strict with the planning. You don't want your friend to feel like you're micromanaging their time. So the use of some modals here, especially speculative modals or possible modals, would be really useful. You could say we could go hiking in the mountains instead of just let's go hiking. We could go hiking is FCE language to a T. So in this video we've looked at recommending what a friend could do if they visited your hometown. What about if somebody came to visit you where you live? What would you recommend? What would you show them? Put your ideas in the comments below. Can't wait to hear from people all around the world. Maybe you'll give me some ideas for future holidays. Wonderful. So until next time, thank you very much.